Welcome back to another episode of Rob Sports Center, man. As you can see by the title and by the thumbnail, man. Yeah, I'm back with the GOAT. I got another Michael Jordan video. So last night I was looking at Last Dance, and I was looking at episode 1, and it was one of the Chicago writers. He was talking about, MJ, and he was basically just talking about the thing about Michael Jordan was that Michael Jordan never took a night off. It's like every night he played as if it was his last game. It's like he took that same approach to every game, but a lot of that also started in practice as well. So it's like when I hear his teammates talk about how hard he practiced like it was a game. Like, I can't think of his name. I can't think of the guy's name. He played with MJ and he also coached Kobe too. And he was just like, he was on, I think it was Matt Barnes and them podcast, and they was asking him about like what was the difference, like what was some things about MJ that kind of just stood out. And he was like, man, I forgot how many years he said he played with MJ, but he was like, all those years that I played with MJ, he never lost a suicide. And like you think most athletes hate suicides, because most of the time that's punishment work, conditioning work, but a lot of times it's punishment work, and a lot of guys hate it. So to have your star player working that hard in practice, it sets the tone for the whole team. Because when you got your star player that's treating practice like a game, everybody else has no choice but to treat practice the same way. When you got your star player that wants to be coached and wants to be coached hard, everybody else has to fall under that same criteria as well. So those are leadership qualities right there. Some people might say, oh, he was a jerk, he was mean. I would say, yeah, sometimes could he have been a little probably overly aggressive? Yeah, but at the end of the day, he was pushing people past their level of comfort because he knew that basketball is a team sport, right? So I can't just come out here and just say, oh, I'm going to drop 40, 50 points every game and think that that's going to be sustainable enough for us to win championships. Like, in order for us to win championships, we have to play as a team. And MJ stood there. So that's one of the qualities that stands out to me. Like, you got a lot of these new guys, the new players, like a lot of these new day athletes, the young guys that's, superly good, that's really athletic, and a lot of them have problems with being coached. You know what I mean? They think that they kind of know everything and that nobody can tell them nothing. But when you got a guy like MJ, who is, probably one of the most athletic freaks we ever seen come through the NBA, but then also has that desire and that hunger to want to be coached and to want to get better. Like, it's a rare combination, man. Like I was just saying that I was like, one of the things about MJ, why we will never see another MJ, is because you got to take, normally when you're dealing with super athletic athletes, most of the time they're going to have to super good athletes. It's going to be two things that it's going to be one of the two. Normally, they're going to be freakishly athletic, naturally athletic guys, and their work ethic is not going to really be up to par. They're just going to rely on their natural athleticism. And as they get older, that productivity starts to decline because the athletic ability leaves. Now, you got some guys that never possess the athletic ability, but because of them never having it, they have to work and hone their game and become fundamentally sound. So when you look at guys like, let's just say we look at football. You look at Tom Brady. Tom Brady is not the most athletic quarterback to ever come through the NFL. If anything, he might be one of the least. Like, I'm going to be completely honest with you. But guess what? Brady knew that. He knew that he wasn't no 4-3 runner, no 4-4 runner. He knew he didn't have the strongest arm in the NFL. So guess what I got to do? My approach has to be mental. I have to make sure that I understand the fundamentals. I have to make sure I understand the game. I got to make sure I understand defenses, how to read defenses, what defenses are trying to do, the weaknesses and the strengths of them. Like, those are the things that you have to dive into. So normally you don't have athletes that possess the both. But when you got guys like Michael Jordan, who has the natural athleticism on top of the work ethic, man, that is a dangerous combination. Now we're going to get into this. So I was also thinking, I was sitting here watching an interview with Roy Jones, and they were talking about the upcoming fight between Pacquiao and Marios Barrios. And they was just talking about, like, does Marios Barrios stand a chance? And, does Pacquiao stand a chance and things like that? And I was just like, man, the thing about it, when you look at a lot of the legends of the past, like whether that's, Pacquiao with boxing, a lot of the Bradys and like the Michael Jordans, like when you look at these guys, man, the thing about these guys that sets them apart to me is their mentalities. Like, when you look at Michael Jordan, like, we're going to get off of Pacquiao now. When you look at Michael Jordan, man, you're looking at a guy that never took days off, right? He never took games off. He never took days off. He treated practice as well as it was a game. So the stuff that you saw him doing game to game, those impossible plays, those plays didn't just materialize out of thin air. Those plays was developed through practice, the approach to the game, and he never, like, I love a lot of these athletes today, man. I love the LeBrons. I love a lot of these guys. But the thing about Mike never complained. He never cried. He never whined. Mike just kept playing. When Mike first came into the league, Mike had to go to a team that was bottom of the barrel. Like, if you've seen Last Dance, you know how much of a joke the Chicago Bulls were, right? So you go to a team like that. Never once, when I seen interviews with Mike, was he saying, oh, I need another first round draft pick, or I need this person from this team to come over here with me? No. And Mike was going up against powerhouses, man. I'm talking about going up against, running up on the 86 Boston Celtics, probably one of the greatest teams to ever play in the NBA. He's running up on teams like that. That he's just severely outmatched in. But guess what? The level of competitiveness for him, he didn't allow that to deteriorate and say, okay, well, you know what? We lost this game, or even when we lose this game, I'm finna go make up excuses up to why we lost this game. I'm finna say I need this person, I need that person. Mike he trusted the process. You look at the switches in between coaches when he first came. I forgot the name of the coach that was there when he first came, and then you had the other coach that came in right before Phil Jackson. So even with the coaching level, it was inconsistency, and even when Phil came in and what he implemented with the triangle offense was completely different from what Mike had to play with the previous 2 years. But like I say, once again, when you have a great like that is his approach mentally to the game, he can make those type of adaptations. He can go from having the ball predominantly in his hand most of the time to having to be able to operate and work off the ball. Because like Phil Jackson said, when the ball is always in your hand, that's the focus of every play. Is the basketball. So when the ball is in your hand, it's easier to scheme and try to stop that. Now, when you are able to maneuver off the ball, work your way around picks and free yourself up for shots, that makes you so much more lethal. And he bought into it. And obviously we see how that transcended his game. So Phil was like, you probably ain't gonna be winning scoring titles within his offense. But because MJ who MJ is, he was still putting up phenomenal numbers in an offense like that. But you look at, it's like even the durability, like, I think that from my knowledge, one of Mike's only injuries, like in terms of him really missing games, might have been from, I think that was his second year when he messed his foot up. But other than that, he was still available. It wasn't none of that load management crap. It wasn't none of that, oh, we going up against a team that might not be as good, we're going to take tonight off. No, it was the same approach every game. And even when he was not winning, he wasn't crying and whining and asking, can you get this superstar? Can you get that superstar? Trying to put together these dream teams. His first time ever playing with a dream team was in the Olympics, but it was never trying to create those in order to try to win championships. And his thing was, when you hear Mike talk about how they was just talking about how he was a scorer, all he was a scorer, he'll never win a championship, and he used that for fuel for fire. He didn't say, okay, well, let me go get this person. No, okay, let me assess what I have on this team. Let me find ways to make what I have here better, and find ways to make that I can improve to help the team. You know what I mean? So it was one of those situations was like, we gonna make do. Like even on the first episode when they had to go of The Last Dance, when they had to go overseas to play in that game, Scottie Pippen wasn't playing, nor was Dennis Rodman playing. But guess what? I get it. Some people might say, well, it wasn't a team up to par, but still, he still went out there and played, even when Scottie was hurt. Obviously with the Last Dance documentary, we've seen where he was saying Scottie was being selfish, but at the end of the day, guess what? He still showed up, even up and held it down up until Scottie came back. And then it's like, so when you look at that level of effort in terms of like, not taking games off and, playing every game as if it was his last, and you see how it transcended into his accomplishments. Man, this guy won 6 NBA championships, right? He won 3. He three-peated. This guy took 2 years off, a year and a half off or something like that, came back. The first year he came back, obviously, they made it to the playoffs. They got put out. But right after that, his next 3 years were championship years, right? When you look at the scoring titles he got, when you look at the MVPs he got, when you look at the finals MVPs you got, when you look at the defensive first team all NBA defenses that he got, when you look at his scoring, where he's at in scoring numbers, and you look at how many points that these guys are scoring today because of how lenient and how much the game has changed, but you look at, he still remains up there, and he didn't play 20 plus years. Like, look at all that was accomplished within that small time frame. He didn't play for no 20 plus years. This man played, I think, what was it, like 15 years or something like that? You know what I mean? So he didn't play for 20 plus years and was getting stats just because obviously the longer you play and if you're effective, you're gonna probably top off a lot of those statistics just because you playing longer. And that's not to minimize any accomplishments that any other players might have got because of their longevity. I'm just saying. But when you think about it, it's like that approach, man, and that's what makes Mike so great, man, is that it was never no off days, man. It was a level of competitiveness, man. You never heard him, talking about, oh, I want to go play with Larry Bird, or I want to go to the '86 Celtics, after he got beat by them, or I want to go join the Celtics the following year, or I want to go join the Lakers. Like, no, it was always his mentality was when he came in, he was like, hopefully I can make this program be respected like a Boston Celtics, like a Los Angeles Lakers, right? So that was his approach coming in. So for him, that was the focus, was to make a name and to develop and to give the city of Chicago something to be proud of, man. So like for me, man, it's hard to go against Mike when we talk about the greatest. I know he's humble and he say like, it's hard to have that because you got to kind of just talk about the greats of that era. I get it because he never played against Wilt Chamberlain. He never played against, in today's game, he never played against LeBron James. He never played against Jerry West, any of those guys, the legends of the past, and even the stars of today's game. So, he's like, it's hard to compare. But when I look at the accomplishments and when I just look at who he was as a player, man, it's not even close, man. Like I say, man, like when you play every game like your last, like you get these crazy accomplishments. Like, man, this guy won MVP in one season and defensive player of the year in one season. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't know. I don't think he got, I don't know. He might've got finals. I don't think he got finals MVP that year, but to get MVP of the NBA, right? MVP. And if I'm not mistaken, he might've got scoring. He might've got won the scoring title for that year too. So you get MVP, scoring title, and then you get defensive player of the year. When have we heard that last? We haven't. We haven't heard that last. This guy went to 6 NBA finals and is 6-0 in all his NBA championships, right? And is the finals MVP for every single one, right? This man never went to a game 7, right? That's the psychotic, the obsessive level of approach that this man took to the game. So it's not about always like when people say, okay, you look at these guys nowadays, like, Kyrie, who got all these phenomenal crossover and ball handling abilities and things of that nature, man. It's not always about that. Sometimes it's about, just their approach and how they view the game and how they play the game. And like I say, man, even if you look at this clip, man, it don't take all that dribbling, all that fancy dribbling, all that, to try to make something happen, man. Sometimes it's just as simple as to get into your spots, being effective and efficient. And when you look at Mike, I seen in the comments, they were saying that, man, it was times that he never really took no more than 3 dribbles because he knew how to operate off the ball. And when you look at a lot of these players in today's game, they're on ball dominant players. Like when you look at guys like Steph, obviously Steph is one of the guys that shows you how dominant you can be maneuvering off ball. But all these other cats like Luka, Kyrie, man, these are on-ball guys. So once again, when the ball isn't in their hand, how effective are you? Because you don't know how to maneuver and work off the ball. But you got Mike, who can do it from all aspects, from the post, who can do it on ball, who can do it off ball, who can shoot the 3 ball, who can be physical enough to drive down low in a time where they wouldn't get fouls. If you look at some of these plays he made in this game, in today's game, those were and ones. Those were fouls. So that would have been, possibly three extra point for every layup he got that he was fouled on. You know what I mean? So, man, I can go all day with this, man. I really can. And I'm curious to hear what some of y'all got to say in the comments, man, because I'd be all for just having those type of talks. Because like I say, man, to me, when I look at it, I mean, I'm not trying to discredit nobody. It's a lot of greats to play the game. It's a lot of greats to grace the game. But for me personally, my all-time is going to have to be Mike, man. I'm just going to be honest with you. But, man, let me know what you guys think in the comments, man. If you did enjoy this video, do me a big favor. Smash that thumbs up button. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. When you subscribe, click that notification bell. That way you'll be notified every time I upload. And I'll see y'all in the next video.